Let me ask, now this was a question, perhaps unsurprisingly, because I'm sure you hear it a lot, that was submitted to us along the lines of, hey, Colum, have you stopped Brexit yet?
I love that
Now,
one.
you can answer that if you want. I'm probably more interested in knowing, you must have known, because Brexit was front and center of your campaigning, obviously, for that 2019 election. I think I even dug out some of your campaign things that I have a nasty habit of keeping everybody's. And stop Brexit, and that is very in there. Was it foolish to tie yourself to something that would be ultimately impossible to deliver? Because it was becoming clear leading up to that election that the wind was only blowing in one direction.
Well, I mean, I always find it fascinating. Every time I say anything on Twitter, I get, have you stopped Brexit?
Yeah.
By Sinn Féin trolls, who of course could have voted to stop Brexit, or at least to have a soft Brexit in the 17 to 19 Parliament, and didn't, and we lost. Votes were lost there by 3 votes on a couple of occasions, and I think Sinn Féin sitting on their hands and the House didn't really help. We never said we were going to stop Brexit on our own. I mean, and that was fairly clear. I was in every interview I did. We were absolutely clear that we would be part of a coalition who would always vote against Brexit, and always vote if Brexit was going to happen, to mitigate the worst excesses of it. That's what we tried to do. Did I want Boris Johnson to be Prime Minister? Absolutely not. I wanted to see a Labour-led government, preferably one that had a few other parties in it as well. But it didn't happen, and that's elections. People in Northern Ireland did their bit, but people in England didn't, and people in Scotland voted against Brexit as well. That was a result of the election, but there's only so much I can do about that.
Part of the reason I ask is because at Queen's we've just had the student union elections, and I've been thinking a lot about the purpose of manifestos. When you sit down to write a manifesto, I mean, is a manifesto a promise? Is it a statement of intent? Is it a broad outline of kind of perspective and lofty ambition? When you write one, what's in your head?
Well, I think what it is if we had all the power, this is exactly what we would do. And if we don't get all the power, these are the aims that we will still try to work towards. And I suppose if you look at our manifestos, we will vote along these lines, no matter how much power or not we have. I don't think anybody thought that at the very most we were going to get re-elected. I don't think anybody thought I was going to be Prime Minister, or they didn't want to. So they're a ridiculous thing to suggest. So we were always going to use whatever power or influence we had. And remember, the DUP not long before had an awful lot of power and wasted it, in my view. So we were prepared, and we still are, to vote against Brexit and everything else, and we did all those things. Would we have loved to see a Labour government? Yes. A hung parliament? Yes. Just the ability to stop what I think is a generations long damaging project, which is Brexit, and is having a hugely destabilising impact on people here. And bizarrely, the party who had all of the power used it in such a way where they followed the right wing of the Tory party, the ERG, and we ended up in a scenario where nobody wanted, which was a border in the Irish Sea, because they weren't prepared to vote for a soft Brexit. And that shows you how using your influence badly and having no strategic thinking, that's where that gets you. And I think the DUP will be punished for that.